All right. Happy Sunday. Um, give thanks for everyone joining this morning. I was saying before I pressed record that, and I wanted to press record so everyone listening in here, if you're watching this as a replay on YouTube, you can hear me say this as well. But as I was watching a Muji video this morning, I became, I'll say, re-inspired, if I could say it like that. Re-inspired to include something in these sessions that I haven't started doing yet. And if I, decide to move forward, I'm gonna take time to allow the permission, so to say, from spirit to really do it like that. I don't want to just do it just because I want to do it. I want to do it when it's in alignment to do it. But Muji does these sessions, these virtual sessions where people are able to tune in virtually, and he calls on like two people, usually about two people, two or three people, to allow them to pose a question or talk about a circumstance or situation they're dealing with, and he shares his insights. And I've for a long time wanted to do something like that. I love the way Abraham Hicks has hers organized, as well as Muji, because sometimes it just takes some reasoning about certain things for you to think about it in a different kind of way. And oftentimes you get a breakthrough when you think about something differently, because it's all about the consciousness, your freedom, your connection with your own grace and peace. It's all about consciousness. It's all about consciousness, because the peace, the freedom, the joy, the abundance, the breakthroughs, it's there. It's there. It's not eluding you. It's not like, it's not like you got to go find it, catch it. You have to just be at a place of awareness and consciousness to allow it. And that place in consciousness, I often call, is surrender. But it's also a level of understanding, and I've just experienced so many times in my life and on my journey of earnestly seeking to surrender, seeking to give over. I've experienced so many times just a shift in consciousness and what that did for me, the breakthrough it had for me. Like one that's very present in my consciousness, and I just don't forget it, and I give thanks for it, is, on my journey, and this journey I'm talking about, journey of life, growing, elevating, evolving. But on my journey, I came at this phase of life where I felt some level of anger and resistance to my experience here in the United States as a Black woman, as a indigenously African woman, was my perception. And of course, the story that's told is that the reason why we're even here, melanated people, is because our ancestors were kidnapped and brought here as slaves. And, we know the story. Many of us know the story, if not all of us. And I was, once I really start hearing it from different perspectives and start reading books about it and really going in, and decided to begin to practice Pan-Africanism and, decolonize is what that was what the mission was. When you become a Pan-African, decolonize the mind, re-Africanize the mind. I began to, that's really what's the starting part of my journey of moving away from a lot of practices and habits that are ingrained here that are just not healthy. Whether, even if we don't even go by the topic of, is it African or not? Is a lot of practices and different things here in the United States, the American diet, the American way of thinking when it comes to money, and American way, the whole American way. It's not healthy. It's not fruitful. It's not progressive. But I was distinctly looking at it like we need to go back, Sankofa, what I understood Sankofa to be at that time, go back to how our ancestors did things. So my goal was to find out, how did they eat? How did they, what spiritual system did they practice? How did they, live their life? I just wanted to go back to, that was my mindset. Like, I want to go back to that because that seems like a time when we flourished, when we were very fruitful, when we, the stories I was hearing about ancient African history was we were excellent, amazing, dynamic, cosmically great. Like, we were just killing the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's go back to that. Because I'm like, well, how we're doing it now, that was how my logic was working. Like, okay, let's go back to a time when we were flourishing. So anyway, a part of that journey, which was about a 4-year phase of my life, I decided to take on a new name. I wanted an African name. I didn't want a American name. In my mind, I'm just telling you the consciousness I was at. I don't want this white man name. I'm just be honest. That's where I was. I wasn't thinking about or considering at all the history of why my mom named me, she named me, what was, none of that. I dismissed all of that, any of that. I just was like, I need an African name. I want to go back. And so that was around the time that I did ask one of my elders at that time, who I was sitting at the feet of, to help rename me. I didn't want to just go find one. I felt I wanted to do it the whole traditional way, and that's where the elders name, the elders from what I researched at the time, the elders, after your first naming ceremony, which usually, from what I understood, was just the name of the day. I was a Saturday born, so you get your day name, Amma. So you're just an Amma at that time. And you're not giving your name until you grow up a little bit and they start seeing, oh, this is that, start kind of watching you, and the community then, the family then names you at about 5 or 6 years old. So I said, okay, I can't do that, but let me just ask one of my elders to name me. Took about 2 years, about a year and a half, and she finally called and she was like, Yenninga. And I said, oh my God, is that my name? And she was like, well, look it up, and see if it's something that, resonates with you. And I looked it up, and it's a warrior princess, a Ghanaian warrior princess named Yenninga. If you look up the history of Yenninga, you'll see it. It's on the web. But her story was, she was one of her father's greatest warriors. And she fought with him, and she was top. But she was growing. She was becoming old, she was getting older. She was a woman. She wanted to be a woman. She wanted to have a husband, have children, all these different things. And the story goes that the father didn't want her to do that because he wanted to keep his greatest warrior. And so she rebelled one year, and she did something, I can't remember what it was, but she did something where all of the harvest went to spoil one year. And her father asked her, why did you do this? Why would you do this? And she said, I wanted you to see how I feel as a woman who is being made to do something, be this warrior for you, but I want my own family. And so he wasn't hearing that. He's like, what? And he wasn't getting with it. So she ran off. Ended up getting married, having a child. And then they reunited. And there was a great celebration for her reuniting, forgiveness. It was no beef, no anger, no resentment. They reunited. That's the short version of the story. Well, this resonated with me because I have felt that, y'all already know my Baba is a minister. a Southern Baptist minister, I always say. It's a distinction. But and I was a church girl. And at that time, I felt like, I knew that my father wanted me to, well, I won't say he wanted me to. I'll say I felt that my family wanted me to stay in the tradition of Baptist Christian, that tradition. And at that time I was seeking, as a matter of fact, I think at that time I had thrown Christianity away. I was like, throw the baby, the bath water, everything, throw the Bible, all of it, throw it away. Because I had learned about the history of Christianity here in the States. And, you hear about that and you hear how it's used for oppression. And, you hear, it's a true story. I'm not dismissing it. It's a reality to this. And that's where I was focusing. And I said, okay, well, let's throw this away because this is ridiculous, and I was there. And I remember my father said to me one day, he said, it's okay. He said, one day you gonna come to an understanding and you gonna come back and you're gonna be one of God's greatest warriors. He used those words. And I was like, well, I don't know about that, but okay, I don't want disrespectful. I just was like, okay, you really don't know what I'm at with this thing. So, all right, keep hope alive. Well, clearly he kept it alive because here I am. Here I go. So nonetheless, so I renamed, I took the name Yennenga, chose Adanya, which means father's daughter. Eventually, my consciousness, I had a level of elevation and consciousness when it comes to my name and what it means to me, because I was ready to throw it away at a certain time. I was in devotion one morning and I was really like wanting to purge anything that I had planted seeds or created foundations of that was from ego in my life. That was like fast forward 10 years after I took on that name. I was going through this, like, I call it initiation, where God was really purifying my life, my heart, my soul, my mind, my words, everything. And it's like every morning, every devotion period, I would read something that just hit that point, like ego, check the ego, and so one morning I was just looking at my life and like, let me look over my life, and even those things that seem good and righteous and all of that good stuff, was it built or created or taken on from ego? And my name was up there on the list. I was like, hold on. Because I remember taking on that name out of a place of anger and rebellion. That's ego. And I was like, oh, Lord, so I got to give up my name. I was like, oh, okay, all right. Hold on. And I really was ready. One thing about me, I don't care what I don't care what I done, who, what, it don't matter. I give it up. Anybody know? No, I'll give it. If I feel like the Most High is like, giving me a spanking about it, I give it up. So I was ready. But I had a revelation that day that you don't have to give it up. Let me show you why I gave it to you. Let me show you why I gave you this ministry, why I'm doing all of this through you. It's not like, and this came in alignment with what I began to understand. And I started this testimony or this story because I was saying that it just takes a shift in consciousness to really get a breakthrough sometimes. The shift in consciousness I was experiencing at that time was accepting that all is God. Our whole journey is God. There truly is no right and wrong. It's no right and wrong. All of it is God. Is it in alignment? Is it imbalanced or balanced? That plays a part. But the notion of right and wrong has us self-sabotaging sometimes, has us going too hard on ourselves sometimes, has us in a state of dissatisfaction or ungratefulness a lot of times, out of the thought that we are trying to self-improve or do better or do something great, or it's a subtle thing. We may feel that in the judgment of ourselves and our journeys, that we are doing something righteous by going and looking at our journey and seeing what we've done. And, oh, I made a mistake there. And, oh, I failed there. And, oh, that's bad there. No, 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 no. It's a subtle thing that we do that we feel that we are righteous in doing. But I feel that it subtly still creates a separation, a misunderstanding about life and our journeys and our divinity. Y'all get where I'm going with this? I'm gonna pause right now because I didn't know I was about to just go in the flow. Clearly I'm in the flow. So I'm just want to put a prayer out. We give thanks for this moment in time and for the word that has begun to be spoken today. I speak that the perfect word will be spoken for all of us, that we'll be able to hear it, and it will be fruitful and impactful for us as we continue on this beautiful journey that we have a privilege to walk. We give thanks in advance. Ashe. Ashe, Ashe, oh, amen. Amen, 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 amen. So at that time, again, I was being convicted to look over my life and see, have I been functioning in things, thinking about things from a place of ego? And again, the name came up, this ministry came up, certain relationships. It was a lot of things that came up in my consciousness on that day. And like I said, the revelation was, no, it's not the fact that you got to throw things away. It's detach from it and allow me to show you the why or the what. Allow me to guide you. Allow it to be mine, because it already is. Right now, you're attached to it like it's yours. Oh, I named you. I accepted that name or took on that name because of this story I have and that story. So I sat there. I said, okay, well, I won't let it go, but I'm going to be open for you to reveal to me why. What's this story about? And the elevation of consciousness with my name was, although Yenninga, the physical formation of Yenninga, was a warrior for her father, one of her greatest warriors. Yenninga, in the way I began to newly understand it, was the father that was being spoken of was not my physical father. It's not my physical father. It's the father, it's the spiritual father. And that warrior energy is that burn and yearn to be in alignment with it, to be obedient to it, to experience a level of disdain to be separated from it. That's the warrior energy for the father's greatest warrior. And Adunya means father's daughter. And so not my physical father, but the spiritual father. And so when that elevation of consciousness came, the name meant so much more to me. It now was not connected to rebellion and anger, resentment. The name, it was now connected to my divine assignment. So Yenninga, my father's greatest warrior. Adunya, father's daughter, that is my name. Not my physical father, because my physical father is not even, none of us are even anything really. I pray you understand what I mean when I say that. Like, we're not that which we think we are. So of course not my physical father. I give honor for my physical father's presence in my life and what it's meant for, the role, the pulse that he plays in my heartbeat of life. However, the father within, the father that governs over me, within me, which is a presence, a principle, a reality, that is what I am, the warrior for and the daughter of. I seek its guidance. I seek its protection. I praise it as the one that provides for me and protects me, and it's the greatest guidance. So once I now look at my father as that, my earthbound father uh gets all type of passes. You know what I mean? Because now, when you elevate, you realize that you've always had a father. You've always had that father, and that father is what uh, supports you and can help you to grow and learn. Then, if you didn't have an earthly father, then you have a father energy to connect to. If maybe your earthly father you didn't have the greatest relationship with, you can soften your heart about it because you don't feel a void, because you have that father energy, that father presence with you. It's not Father's Day, but I don't know how fathers came up this session, but we give thanks. But this is the switch in consciousness. And so, I began this conversation because I said I've been exploring the idea of allowing space and time for one or two individuals to tune in on a Sunday to present a question or a topic or a situation, circumstance, and to be able to reason about it, talk about it from a divine fifth dimensional standpoint. Because when you get understanding, that's the breakthrough. The breakthrough comes when the understanding comes, the shift in consciousness comes. That's when the breakthrough happens. And I was just speaking to someone yesterday, about this dynamic of therapy. A lot of people are getting into therapy now. And he was just saying how, when, if the therapy, if the therapy is not from a standpoint of helping you to shift your consciousness, helping you to see certain things, helping you to have a shift in consciousness, is not really going to do the healing that is needed. If it doesn't get to the root, if it doesn't get to that center of consciousness. And so having the satsang, and I'm highly interested in doing it, really leaning towards it, but I'm going to wait for guidance on it. The whole purpose of it would be to help us to reason about certain things, to help us to raise our consciousness in thinking about certain things. Not just thinking about the earthly matters, which are important as well, because, we are able to grow and evolve and worship and through our walk, through our relationships, through our work, through our circumstances and situations. That's how we're able to grow in God, by applying and surrendering through those processes. But also not just the earthly matters, but the higher minded concepts, the higher minded understandings, reasoning about those things. Sometimes it could be daunting to try to think about it. I remember I first started listening to Muji. I was totally just confused, like, huh? I was trying to get it. I was like, what? I just can't get it. So as I heard somebody say this morning, as I was listening to one of Muji lectures, he was saying, I just was going through a mind loop for about a whole month on this one thing you said. And that's how it be for me. It was for me when I first started listening to Muji. I just was like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. And that's how it is. We've been undereducated about the spiritual realm and God and, the unseen of life. We've been indoctrinated in a certain kind of way that have implanted certain concepts about God and our divinity and spirituality that has created cognitive dissonance. That's the reality. And we have been so attached to our physical experience that we have come to really believe in it so much. We believe in it so much. Oh, we believe in it so much. We believe in it so much. And so we have to detox off of all of that. Detox off of being obsessed and addicted to believing in what we see. I know that sounds like wild, right? It's like, Queen, so you just don't want us to believe in what we see. When we hear things like don't believe what they say, believe what you see or something like that, you know, we're taught these things to help us to protect ourselves and control ourselves and govern our lives. We have used what we see and what we hear and what we think to help us organize and control our lives, our very existence. And so when you come to this place where you say, close your eyes and open your mind's eye, take off your shoes, close your ears, tune into the voice of the Almighty, stuff like that. It may sound straight, like, okay, here we go. We're going into this mystical existence, but it's not. Many of you have experienced releasing and detaching from this physical life and sitting with yourself and sitting within yourself. To sit within yourself and allow the thoughts to go by, like Muji say, like clouds. To talk down the ego. Many of you have sat. Am I right? Am I right? I feel this is true. Many of you have sat with yourself and spoken to yourself and said, slow down, be quiet, shh, calm down, detach, release, let go. We're getting, we've come a long way. Many of you have come a long way, if not all of us. And I'm speaking to you, those who are online right here. Many of you have been at this for a while now. You've been at it for a while. You've been earnestly seeking. You've been earnestly, striving to understand and let go. And one of the biggest fights that we've had to put up is that letting go. Am I right? Letting go. So much so when we do, and we start to experience that inner peace, we almost feel scared, waiting on the ball to drop. Am I depressed? I would get stuff like that when I would be working with clients and individuals over a long period of time, and they begin to feel that inner peace. I don't know, Queen, I'm starting not to care. I don't know, Queen, I might need to care a little bit more. I don't know if I should be doing this. I'm scared, Or their families come and be like, I don't know what's going on with you. You just so nonchalant. You just act like you don't care. That just be the first phase of it. If you stick with it, the family finally be like, I love this new you. What you got going on? Woo! We used to be able to depend on you to stress out about it and figure it out and work it out. Now you don't, we tell you and you don't got nothing. I'm gonna pray about it. But by the time we look up, it done worked out. We be like, oh, we need to go to her for prayer. We need to just stick with it. If you're courageous enough, if you're convicted enough, stick with that letting go. It's gonna feel strange at first. But when that consciousness shift, you realize you're here for a different reason. How many of you all are experiencing where stuff that used to make you happy or give you joy just don't no more? It's the simple things of life that gives you peace and joy, and you're mesmerized by the simple things of life. Things that used to make you sad or angry just don't no more. Like, I can't even remember when I cared like that and why I cared like that. Shay, give thanks. Shura says, yes, ma'am, give thanks. Janice says, infinite gratefulness and thankfulness for your assistance. Shay, it's a pleasure. Yvette says, yes, that's a breakthrough. Many of our people have transitioned out of this experience from heart disease, diabetes, heart attacks, all of these different type of things. Why? Why have that? It's not just because of the diet and the unhealthy living habits. It's because of the mind as well. The holding on to past experiences, the obsessing about the future, the lack of being present in the now, the lack of gratitude, the lack of letting go, the resistance to let it go of control because of the illusion of the control. It's an illusion. And if you keep trying that letting go out and things start working, you're going to be like, why in the world was I stressing like that? Like, wow. So I ain't have to do nothing but just say it. And it's so, oh, wow. All I did was say it to somebody. I just told a person. That happened to me just recently. I'm like, I just said something. And then they came back around like, I did this for you. And then what? Wait a minute, how you knew? She said, you said something a couple of weeks ago. And da-da-da-da. Huh? Something that I in the past would have really stressed about, but I tend to at the time now, I tend to, if it's that type of thing, I tend to just let it go, leave it alone. For instance, it's an area over here on the property. Child, every time I pass by it, the spirit of obsessive compulsive disorder rouse up in me, and I'd be like, oh, I just wish I had a bobcat that I could just mow down this and da-da-da-da, you know. But I just let it go. Lord, you know what need to be done. It is what it is. I'm not gonna think about it. Years ago, I would have been how much it costs. I've been trying to get quotes, calling people out here, getting the survey of the land, trying to raise the money, calling over here. Da-da-da-da-da. I don't want to do none of that. I don't want to try to find nobody to do it. I don't want to even go back there. Sure enough, a couple weeks later, somebody comes to me and say they received the grant to help out some farms or gardens. And that grant will pay for whatever it is that you need to be done as far as like land work. And I'm like, oh, will it now? And I'm like, so can I do something like, you know, and I showed them the area. It was like, yeah, what you want to do? Well, I want to do this and I want to do no problem. Within a week, the guy was here with his bobcat, clearing out the space, making a pathway, moving stuff around, and it's gonna come back a couple more times until the job is done. No out-of-pocket expense, no stressing out, trying to figure it out, do this, none of that. Ashe, you know, when you change, the change of perspective, you know, the shift in consciousness is so important. And the shift that is behind how I handle that situation, as well as many other ones that could have just spun me off into ego and all of that, is if it come up in your consciousness as a desire or something that you need or whatever, it's already done. It's just be aware. If when you go to try to solve it, and it starts to bring up anxiety and you feel like you got to go through all of this, I'm going to just say how I receive that. I receive that as I need to sit down and surrender and let it go, and it's going to happen. That's how I receive. I just choose to receive it that way. And I have so many testimonies of how things like that work out. You know, it just works itself out. People kept coming. This garden has been here for 20 years, and the community have been used to having a place where they can come and put their compost. So every week I have people come, hey, you know, I want to compost these things, and I used to be able to come and bring it here. And for a while I had to say, well, I don't have one yet, but I do plan on building out one. But the job was just daunting for me. I'm not, let's be clear. OU Ministries is at the headquarters of a garden, okay? I'm not a farmer or a gardener like that. I know how to garden. I know how to grow food, but like when people come to me, like, oh, girl, how you grow? Listen, let me get you in contact with the farmer. So I knew I wanted a compost operation, a compost area. I was just waiting on the Most High to show me how it is going to happen. How is it going to happen? Because I'm not going to try to force it. I'm trying to build a compost space. I'm trying to hire somebody to do it. No, I'm not going to do none of that. Lo and behold, within some short period of time, the city of East Point, the urban agriculture department, they come calling me. They say, we got a grant that is focused on composting. And we were able to get some funds, and we partnered up with this company called Compost Now. And they're looking for sites to set up a station to compost. And they're gonna put out the bins, put up a sign, and the people can come and put their compost in there. They're gonna come and pick it up, take it to their location, let it brew and do what it does, because y'all know compost turns into soil. Hold on, here's the kicker. Then they're gonna give you back the soil, and you can use it for whatever you need to use it for. Huh? Really now? So I don't have to build a compost section, manage it, maintain it, turn it. Anybody who work with compost, y'all know it's a job. You know, you gotta turn it. You gotta make sure it has the right mixture of carbon and green. You know, it's like, it's a lot. And so I know about it because God had me where I worked for agriculture company, for an urban ag company, for about 4 to 5 years. So I knew what to do and what it would take. And that's what made it even more daunting for me. Like, man, if I set it up, I'm going to have to maintain it. And so once my mind started ruminating like that, you know what I did? Let go. And what? Put it in the chat room. When your mind started to ruminate and you know what I got to do and how I'm going to do that. And that just seems so daunting. Let go. Finish that sentence for me. And what? We say it, but we don't do it. Thank you. That's it. That's it. The Almighty is miraculous in its works. I could have put it together, and people would be like, oh, you put that together? Oh, wow. So you out here, and it would have been just seemed so great. I could have got a whole news article written on me, and oh, this is so wonderful. She's out here doing it for the community. She built the compost operation, and it's going well, and we love it, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It wasn't meant for me to do all that. So just by me thinking I need to have this compost thing for these people to come here, I think that's noble. I think it's needed for somebody, because I know how I feel. I juice a lot. I do a whole lot of I do a lot of things that gives me a whole lot of feedstock, what we call feedstock in composting, but residue from everything that I'm doing, scraps. And I hate throwing in the trash can. It don't make sense to me. You know, I've never felt comfortable with that. You know, it's like, so I have a little tree in the back that I go and throw it behind. In my house, I just go throw it behind a tree. It'll decompose. I think the neighbors I hope the neighbors not irritated with me, but I throw all of it out there. So I know it's a benefit for the community. It's been here for 20 years. So that was enough for me to have that desire for it to come up. And then here we go. Okay, well, Most High say, let me just work it on out for you. And then I'm gonna give you, it seemed like the Most High, am I right? Seemed like the Most High give you a cherry on top. I'm gonna give you a nice situation, but I'm gonna also go ahead and throw a cherry on the top. The cherry on the top is, not only are they gonna man the station, give me all the bins, pick up the stuff, go back, let it do what it do, but then come back and return to me that rich soil for me to use in the garden or to gift to the community. My goal is to use it in the garden for fertilizer for the garden, and also gift it to the community once I start to get it. Isn't that amazing? Have it at the compost, have it at the market when we have market days for them to take it as a gift to the community, or give donations to, give donations for it, to support the garden. That's just so amazing. So Most High can really work stuff out. Just take your mind off of it, I know we feel that, and I'm not just talking about things we worry about, but I'm also talking about things we feel we failed at, things we feel that we did wrong, things we feel that, we could have did something different on our journey, because we got a lot of people on this call right now. I mean, I've never talked to you before, but I know it's true. We got a lot of people on this call right now where you go so hard on yourself. You know, I know better. I should have did better. You know, you go too hard. You going hard on yourself. No judgment is necessary. None of it is necessary. Your journey is divine for real, for real. Okay? All is meant. That's what divinity means. All is in order. All was meant. Stop judging it. The minute you stop judging it, the sadness, the resentment, the anger, the bitterness, it ceases. Allow God to show you. It becomes this miraculous story that you can't make up. You can't make it up. So stop judging that circumstance, that situation from the past. Stop judging that circumstance or situation right here, right now, and stop judging it on your perceived notions about the future. Ashe, say Ashe, amen, I mean. If you hear what I'm saying, drop the judgment. Drop the judgment. Be at peace. I want to hear God. I want God to talk to me. God always talking to you. Always. You so distracted by your judgments that you can't hear the Most High. Ashe, 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 I mean. Ashe, oh. You got to quiet the mind. Be as Muji say. Walk this land as an observer, not absorber. Observe. When you find yourself in this type of space, you'll find that you hardly get into these type of situations. Even when you see the sign of stuff starting to seem a certain kind of way, but you let go and let God. Because you've changed your levels of consciousness in that letting go, it starts to look differently. It don't look like trouble like it would to somebody else. It don't look like struggle like it would to somebody else. It look like opportunity. Change your judgment of things that struggle or hard or all of that to opportunity. That's a great shift in consciousness. Oh, here's another opportunity. I oftentimes say, oh, well, God was about to show me something. Why you say that? Because I don't have nothing for you. I don't know. How we going to do that? I don't know. Well, we about to see God do something. When did we come to believe that we were the greatest judger of life? When did we come to believe that? When did we come to believe that? When did we come to believe that we are the greatest controller of life? When did we come to believe that we are God itself? We are not God itself. Please never get confused of me saying we are an expression of the Almighty in physical form. The presence of God is in us and is expressing itself through us as us. We are not God. We are not the source. We are not. I'm even careful to say we are co-creators. But I'll take it for now. I'm open to refine that thought. Because even in the notion of being co-creators, we tend to, because of our indoctrination and cognitive dissonance, we tend to take ourselves too seriously. Do too much. I hear sometimes when Abraham Hicks speaking, she said, I wrote a book and then she didn't say I regret it, but she said, then you all just went crazy. You just started to just obsess over your thoughts and your words. No, don't attach to none of it. I could go on and on forever, but I heard something today during a Muji lecture. Somebody asked him, he said, how do we best serve God? I think, as a matter of fact, someone put this sat song in the group chat and I listened to it. They said, how do we best serve God? He said, well, I would say we best serve God by seeking to get to know it. Not by trying to obey it, by just surrendering to it, getting to know it and surrendering to it. That's it. Solely. That's how we serve. We oftentimes think we have to do so much in life in general. But I think the greatest shift in consciousness is to shift the consciousness of being a doer and become a being. Allow yourself to be. I won't say become a being, but allow yourself to be. You are a divine being. Will you do in this life? Yes. But I think sometimes we get caught up on the doing instead of allowing ourselves to be. And in that being, things are getting done. Be at peace. Be abundant in thinking, abundant in serving. Be joyous. Be it. Be it. Be love and loving. Be graceful. In your gracefulness and graciousness and peacefulness and joyousness and abundance and poise and peace, the doings of life, the happenings of life will happen. But you will see more peace, more love, more abundance manifesting, because in these happenings and doing, you are being peace. And so that amplifies and multiplies through the doing. We obsess about the doing. We're obsessing about trying to control the outcome usually. Detach from the notion of the outcome. Detach from needing to know the outcome. Only thing you need to know about all outcomes that can ever be is that everything is always working out in the best way for the sake of God. And God is goodness, and God is abundance, and God is peace, and God is love. Everything is always working out for the sake of God. And all is God. And so anything you feel like need to happen, be done, or whatever, it's all God. So everything is always working out for the sake of God. And so that what you perceive needs to happen, wanting to get, okay, but move away from that. God is always at work. Believe it or not, God is always at work. So surrender to it. You're going to see some miraculous things happen in your life. Amazing things happen in your life. Surrender. Surrender. Ashe. We give thanks for the word. I don't know, this was just more like a chat. It just flowed, so I let it go. I pray that it was inspiring, maybe. It was intriguing. Maybe sparked some thought, or brought a level of understanding or encouragement, motivation, whatever it did for you. I give thanks. I give thanks. I pray that that seed that was planted today grows and blooms and blossoms. You allow it to do that. Let us close with a brief meditation. Y'all ready for some meditation? Y'all still up for some meditation today? I'm going to set the intention per usual for this meditation to help us to lighten our heart and be present in presence. Be present in presence. That is the assignment forever, is to be present in presence. I was reading a book this week, and this guy who was seeking to understand God and understand prayer and grow in his faith and grow in his prayer life. He studied with the monk, and the monk took him through this journey that helped him to really evolve in prayer and evolve in his meditation. And finally, the monk said, okay, it's time for you to go. And so he went into his life and returned back to the hustle and bustle of life. And he said, after a while, I realized that I was at a different place now in my consciousness and in my meditation. And he said, it moved from me trying to be a saint trying to pray, trying to be a child of God, trying to be in alignment, trying to do all this, to me, just moment by moment, striving to love God and walk in his presence. Moment by moment, my striving was to love God and walk in his presence. That's it. In all of my happenings and all the circumstance situation, moment by moment, I wasn't trying to be peaceful, trying to be poised, trying to be positive, I just took it to moment by moment. I'm just going to strive to love God and walk in his presence. Isn't that an amazing existence? It takes away from all that striving you're doing. And it does what Muji was saying, to serve God is just to get to know it and surrender to it. Moment by moment, I'm just going to love God. I can't love God if I don't know God. I'm just going to strive to love God and walk in his presence, Ashe. And so for this meditation, my desire is for us to just be present in presence at this moment. Just be present in presence and just settle into that so that we can move away from the striving and the doing and the happenings of life, just being present in the moment. So find yourself in a comfortable position. We give thanks for the word. Let's just move away from thinking, the mind, the words of this session, and drop into the feeling, how you feel right now. Maybe you feel inspired. Maybe you feel encouraged. Just at this moment, just drop into the feeling right now. Move away from the words. Be present in how you feel. I pray that you feel inspired. I pray that you feel motivated. I pray that you feel a level of understanding. So as you begin to engage the breath, slowing the breath down, inhaling in through the nose deeply and exhaling through the mouth. Slowing the breath down, relaxing the body, allowing your heart to lighten. Just be present in this moment. Allowing yourself to inhale slowly, deeply. Exhale slowly and completely. Inhaling and exhaling as slow as possible. Every time you inhale, allowing the body to expand as much as it can. And every time you exhale, allowing the body to fully relax. Releasing the tension from the shoulders. Relaxing the arms and the hands. Allowing the hips to release and relax. Allowing the legs and the feet to relax. Presence, as defined, is the state of existing. Being present is to be present in your being, your existence. As divine beings, we exist as reflections of God itself. So to be present is to be present in the existence of divinity. As a divine being, to be present is to be present in divine mind, divine peace, divine faith, divine strength, divine power. This notion of divinity acknowledges something of the unseen, something that is, always has been, always will be. This notion of divinity acknowledges something that is all powerful, divinely intelligent, omnipresent, and omnipotent. To be present, as defined, is the state of existing. To be present in presence is to surrender any notion that the Almighty, the life force energy, the all powerful source of life, it's with you, it's in you, it's flowing through all of your circumstances and situations. To be present in presence is to acknowledge that this presence forever remains active, flowing, powerful beyond your understanding. So to be present in presence is to be at peace, knowing that you are divinely protected, guided, provided for. To be present in presence is for you to release control, knowing that a divine plan is always unfolding, and that you as a vessel will be guided to what to do, say, think. And so to be present in presence, make it easy for you to obey, for you to make the steps and the moves that's necessary without attachment, without worry, without anxiety, without fear, but with confidence because of the presence of God that resides in you and expresses itself through you as you. In this moment, as you breathe and relax, be present. The presence of God is with you. It is moving and working through all of your circumstances, situations. There's no need to fear. No need to doubt. No need to force, fight, or figure out. Surrender to it. Love it. Appreciate it. Remember it. Praise it. Become one with it. In mind, in heart, in speech. Acknowledge it. Proclaim it. In this presence, we have the power to, like Adam, name everything. And we can trust that these names are pure and holy. As we let go of the notion of personal selfhood and take on, acknowledge, and stand firm in our divinity. Then you will speak with a level of confidence and power. You will pray with a level of confidence and power. You will think with a level of discernment, confidence, and power. And you will begin to live this experience, detached but connected to it all. It's a glorious existence. It's a peaceful existence. Joyous, serene. Be one with this existence. Allow this existence. Presence is the state of existing. To be present in presence is the state of existing as a divine being. This is a privilege. Accept it. Be grateful for it. Ashe. As we close, let's take a few more deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Give thanks for your being. Give thanks for the presence of God. And give thanks for your presence. Ashe. Amen. Amen. Namaste. Right, coming back to the present moment, maybe by wiggling your fingers and toes, giving yourself a little stretch. Stay with me. We're going to close with a word from Muji per usual. We give thanks. Take your time. Come back to this present moment. Give thanks. Give thanks. Ashe. Amen. Speak that this word will be perfect for us. And so it is. Per usual. Give thanks. Ashe. Give thanks for that meditation that was channeled. We give thanks for the presence of God. We give thanks for God residing, that presence residing within us. Stay one with it. Remember it. Walk with it. All right. If you have the book, this is from page 115, White Fire by Baba Muji. 115, passage number 236. Baba Muji says, the whole world has got it wrong. You think you did something wrong, and you have spent so much time trying to correct it. Yet somehow all this is in the mind of God, who creates all this potential, creates all these colors and paints all these pictures. Somehow there is a place for every stroke. You, consciousness, are God's paintbrush. The world is your canvas. You are also his living work of art. Delight in the knowing of this. Ashe says the whole world has got it wrong. You think you did something wrong and you have spent so much time trying to correct it. Yet somehow all of this is in the mind of God, who creates all this potential, creates all these colors and paints all these pictures. Somehow there is a place for every stroke. You, consciousness, are God's paintbrush. The world is your canvas. You are also his living work of art. Delight in the knowing of this. Ashe, perfect word. As I stated, all is God. Don't get caught up in the judgment of life. Focus on continuing to raise your consciousness, being aware. Awareness is key. In that awareness, in that consciousness, you become, as Muji say, God's paintbrush. You express God through you. He's basically saying exactly what we utter often. The presence of God is in you and it's expressing itself through you as you. And so the formation of your art will be a reflection of your consciousness and awareness. And all of it in itself is all written and divine. Give thanks for it. Give thanks for it. If you look at it and you say, oh, something about this I don't like, that's God nudging you to refine, to think differently, to seek understanding. That's all. That's all. That's all. Ashe. Ashe. Give thanks. All right, we give thanks for you tuning in. If you'd like to show some love to your sister or Oyun Ministries, you may do so at that same link that you tuned in here to tune in. You can give that. We give thanks. I give thanks for all who consistently support Oyun Ministries, who consistently show your love through your love offerings and through your prayers. I give thanks for it. If you're watching this as a replay, you can find a link on my YouTube channel also where you can give, or as I said, you can go to the website under Sunday Fellowship, and there are several ways that you can be able to give your support there and show your support there. If you found this impactful, I see your question, Mona. I got you. If you found this impactful for you, inspiring to you, share this link. Share this link. If you find these meditations, these sat songs, we just gonna call it what it is, these fellowship sessions to be impactful, and you feel like someone else should tune in live, let them know, hey, every Sunday, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, I'm tuning in to this live session. And as a matter of fact, I think she's gonna start open up the channel for us to, engage with her. So tune in live with me. Tune in live with me. And on a Sunday, when you tune in to our Sunday fellowship, send the link over to 2 or 3 people. I'm asking you all to do so. Let us spread the word about Oyun Ministries and the beautiful reflections that's been channeled through these sessions and through our time together. If you're on the GroupMe app and you feel like someone should be on there so that they can get that daily, weekly inspiration, share the GroupMe app with individuals. Share those things that Oyun Ministries has to offer. We give thanks. You're welcome, y'all. Y'all know it's a pleasure. Y'all know I enjoy it just as much as y'all. But share the meditations, the moon meditations. If you're in Atlanta, come out to the sound bath sessions, bring a friend. This is you all's ministry. Many of you have been rocking with Oyun Ministries for a minute now, consistently. Every Sunday, every new moon, every full moon. Many of you all who tune in on Sundays are already members. But look, as my Southern Baptist roots is used to, we always would say, be a witness, let people know, bring somebody to service, bring a friend, bring family members. So I'm encouraging you all to do the same. I want to consistently encourage you all to do the same. Thank you, Erica, for answering that question. Mona, my best email is, what's best email? OyunLLCATL@gmail. OyunLLCATL@gmail. That's the best email. I definitely open that. I'm typing it into the chat room now. OyunLLCATL@gmail.com. Yes. Okay. Give thanks. Give thanks. Someone asked me what was the book that I mentioned where the guy was studying with the monk and he told him to move. It's time to go. That book is entitled Being Still. Being Still by Jean Eve, I think, or something like that. If you put in, and it's John, I'm sure it's pronounced John, but Jean. But Being Still, it's an older text, but I think it's the tradition, something like the reflections of the traditional mystical way, or something like that. But that's the name of that book. All right, peace and love, you all. Give thanks. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your week. Be present. Stay present in presence. Stay present in presence, not in life, not in the this and that. Stay present in presence as you walk life. Okay. Sometimes we can get confused. Be present in the moment. Okay, but don't be present and attached to that moment. Be present in presence in each moment. Okay, be present in presence in each moment. That's the word. That's the word.